Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Busy day.
Oh,
Trying to cram everything in, which is tough when you start 5 minutes late. All of our guests today brought to you by Able Auctions, ableauctions.ca. 9-3 for the Golden Knights over the Panthers last night. Vegas in 5. They win the Stanley Cup final in their 6th season. Here to talk about that and more, host of Vegas Golden Knights broadcasts since 2017. Also host of the Chirp podcast.
Yep.
A former contestant on Ice Picks.
really?
From Nevada, Daren Millard. How are you, sir?
Was I a contestant or was I part of the show? Like, you make it sound like I was phoning in.
You know what? That's funny because I was trying to figure out what category we fit in. Were we hosts? Were we contestants? I'm not sure, but we got paid.
Panelists?
Yeah.
we got
panelists.
paid big.
Yeah. Well, I didn't, but I'm sure.
He never does.
I'm sure you did. By the way,
Someday you'll get a break, buddy.
Yeah.
Someday.
Someday.
Yeah. The wall you're in front of is just outstanding. You've got a replica, I would imagine, of John Garrett's old mask. Wayne Stevenson is there. Ken Dryden. That's outstanding.
Yes. I love the Wayne like, not many people get the Wayne Stevenson reference.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. It was my favorite Flyers mask back in the day. And Bob Asenza from the Jets is right there. And then a bunch of my Duck masks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're a former goaltender. I don't know if you're still playing, but did you see this coming with Aiden Hill?
To this extent, no. Did I think that at the start of the year, that he would be the guy to run a team through a Stanley Cup playoff and be able to lock it down and have, if not, I haven't checked the numbers today, but through 14 games, he had the best save percentage ever in Stanley Cup playoff history. So that is a whole new level, and I'd be lying to you if I said, yeah, he could go there. But one thing became very evident when he was leaned on after the All-Star break. He was a different goaltender. One, he was making the saves that you're supposed to make, and we all hear about that. But he showed us a side of him that was more athletic, that was more reactionary. A lot of guys are good blockers. J.S. Giguère, I think back to that. But Aiden Hill can react and get into it and respond and go out of his comfort zone, and that's a real credit to him. And then there's just the guidance of Sean Burke along the way. They've had an extensive history, and I think that meant a lot as well.
What's going to happen with the goaltending situation with the Knights, Daren? Quick, although he may retire, he's a UFA. So is Aiden Hill, Laurent Brossoit. Yeah. And who knows what's going to happen with Logan Thompson, but Robin Lehner especially. What's in the future goaltending-wise for the Knights?
Most of those guys will be in the parade. That's about as far as I can confirm.
Thanks for that.
The future of the Vegas Knights goaltending because of what the contract status is, and I don't know. I'd love to give you some insight. Aiden Hill deserves to get paid. He just came off a Conn Smythe candidate type performance in the Stanley Cup playoffs and carried this team through and was everything that you need to be. And I think he was more impactful on this team than Darcy Kemper was a year ago. And he flipped out with Colorado back and forth with Pavel Francouz. But he deserves to get paid. It's going to be his one opportunity as an unrestricted free agent after a guy that was trying to establish himself as a National Hockey Leaguer all the way up to this year. If I was him, I would cash in, but there's also something to be said about coming back and defending your title and being part of it going forward. I would expect that he'd be looking for term and some dollars with the salary cap. I don't know whether that's possible with Vegas.
Daren, give us a feel of the city of Vegas, the playoff run. How's it been? Is the entire city behind them? I mean, just give us a bit of a feel.
Good to talk to you.
Yo, thank
for
you.
A change.
Yeah,
instead of Donnie hogging all the.
I'm the guy in the background, but I'm okay with that. I've always been the guy in the background.
I played your role with Donnie several times.
Oh, please! You dominated Ice Picks.
I'm the guy in the background.
The golden boy, and then Mallard. That's the way it worked. And everybody's like, who's that guy back there? Is he part of the studio audience?
It's like Richie
awesome.
It's like Richie Cunningham and the Fonz. Same thing. Yeah, I'm Richie Cunningham, the Fonz. That right there, same thing.
And then there's Ralph somewhere back there.
And Potsy.
I like Potsy.
These days I look more like Mr. C.
It was fun. And what made it enjoyable was there wasn't a lot of stress to it.
Yeah.
Game 1 was a loss to Winnipeg at the very start of the playoffs, and Bruce Cassidy was hard on his team for that performance. And Game 2, in the first period, they needed a heroic effort from Laurent Brossoit, who started the series and the first 7 games of the Stanley Cup playoffs for the Vegas Golden Knights in goal. He was all world, or else they may be in trouble and down 2-0 in that first round series. That was the only time they trailed, because they won Game 2 against Winnipeg. They didn't trail in a series again. And Edmonton was back and forth, but they put their foot down, and Dallas, they had the 3-0 lead, and we know what happened against Florida because of more recency bias. It was a fun, enjoyable ride, and one thing that will always stand out to me about it was a team that was decimated by injuries last year, that was riddled with injuries all through the lineup, midway through this campaign, and then in the playoffs and goaltending, was as healthy as I've ever seen a team through a Stanley Cup playoff run. They had to swap out 2 defensemen in the Winnipeg series, and then they made some lineup changes, 1 or 2, but that's it. They only had to make, with their skaters, 2 changes because of injury or sickness in the entire playoffs, and they both were in the same game. And I don't remember a lower attrition rate in a Stanley Cup playoffs. But then you add in the city and your question about the vibe last night. And I'm talking about people that have been in Vegas their whole life, have never seen a congregation of people like that outside the building, then inside the building. And then the way it ended up was, again, true to form. It was fun. It was enjoyable.
I know you love the Western Hockey League, the Brandon Wheat Kings, but how nice to know that 8 players on that roster from the Western League, the GM, Kelly McCrimmon right there from Brandon. How nice is that Western Hockey League connection for you in Vegas?
Well, and you go down through the hockey operations. Von Karpen. Is
Craig Cunningham.
This team. Craig Cunningham. Bob Lowe's was a coach in Brandon for a number of years, and Von from the pod. And I had a great moment with Craig last night after the game before they went on. Mick McCrimmon, Kelly's son, is part of the scouting staff. It runs really deep with this organization, and I'm so proud of my home province and the Stanley Cup. It might have to take up temporary residency status on the prairies, in particular Manitoba.
Yes.
Because of Brett Howden, Mark Stone, Keegan Colasar, Zach Whitecloud, and then you get into Chandler Stevenson and Braden McNabb from Saskatchewan. Like it's pretty neat, given that they did that. And everybody thinks Western Hockey League rough and tumble. Like, these guys all play, they skate, they get it done, they compete, but they also can play at a high skill level, which is incredible to witness. And then you just get the Bison part of it, being from Manitoba and Brandon. It's like nothing. I was thinking, could we get a team picture with all the Manitoba people? But there's too many. Yeah. There's too many everybody's going in all different directions.
And a lot of people have mistaken Winnipeg for Vegas. So there is that.
Portage and Maine or the Strip. Yeah. I agree with that. That's a shot, and I'm going to let that go because I'm in such a good mood right now. I'm gonna ignore that shot at my home province.
Listen, when it comes to Stanley Cups and celebrations, you can go crazy on Vancouver too. Yeah, because we wrote the book on bad ones. Yeah. Very quickly, Daren. Next year, we mentioned the goaltenders. There's some questions there with the UFAs, but everybody else is pretty much is coming back. Can you see this happening again?
Yeah, Barbashev is a free agent. They picked up the power forward from St. Louis at the trade deadline, and he's going to look to get paid. I think there's an avenue to fit him in, depending on where you go with goaltending. If you cut one place or save one place and spend on another. And he got to play on Jack Eichel's wing, so that's pretty good enticement. And Vegas. I could see them running this back, and I could see a long run next year. Remember, this team won the Pacific. Yep. They won the Western Conference. This isn't some kind of fluke winning in 6 years, and they've got this base that are in the prime of their career with all this experience. And yeah, I could absolutely see witnessing the excitement and the business-like performance that they put forward. Their closing out games in all 4 series was spectacular. Like, they just stepped on it, and I don't think that tells me that they're not complacent. They're just out for wins. And yeah, I could. What's to stop this team if you're running it back and they're all in their prime from doing it again? And a lot of guys, you could say Jack Eichel is at another level. This team didn't have a 30-goal score this year. With some injuries played a role in that, but they didn't have a 30-goal score, and they won multiple games by 5 goals in the playoffs and scored 9 in the clinching game. So there might be another level to go in the regular season, never mind the playoffs.
Outstanding as always, Daren. We'll get you back soon. Thanks so much for this. All the best down there in Vegas.
Always a pleasure to be with you. And if you don't mind doing a wellness check on me every 3 days, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, we have to worry about wellness checks in this studio, but if we have time, we'll get to you. Thanks, buddy.
Be good, boys.
Appreciate it.